Right now, in no time, probably at 12 o'clock, where SABC News is going to be carrying those visuals live to you, so you don't have to change that dial. And of course, everybody's expecting to hear quite a number of things. The biggest thing, of course, that has been for parties during the manifesto launch is, of course, the issue of unemployment. And as we heard from our reporters earlier, when he was speaking to members of COPE, they are hoping that party leader Mosele Kota actually speaks to how they as COPE hope they can actually combat unemployment, specifically in Limpopo as well as other regions. These are the live visuals
Viva
now.
Congress of the People, viva! Viva Congress of the People, viva! Viva President Likota, viva! Viva Deputy President Comrade Willie Malisha, viva! Viva Limpopo, viva! Comrade President, the Deputy President Comrade Willie Malisha, Congress National Committee members, the leadership of the party from all 9 provinces of our country, Congress of the women, the youth and the students respectively, our traditional leaders and chiefs who are in our midst this afternoon. We are gathered here full of hope and joy. This gathering irresistibly reminds us of the historic meeting of the Congress of the People in the year 1955. That is the meeting wherein the Freedom Charter was actually adopted. It is important, comrades, that we should really understand these things, because this has the history of the Congress of the People as a political party in this country. 22 years into democracy, statistics South Africa really indicates that unemployment amongst the colored and the African youth is actually very alarming. The social and economic situation of the majority in our country is not getting better. Every South African has now come to the realization that the country has become a leaderless one. We make a clarion call to all the people of this country to save South Africa by voting for the Congress of the People. This has to start with these local government elections. We appeal to all those who love this country not to leave things to chances, but to remind one another that each vote counts. Accordingly, we have to go out in our numbers and recruit all people who qualify to vote to go out on the 3rd of August and support the Congress of the People. It is ironical that under this government, the Constitution no longer reigns supreme, but the Parliament. What also boggles our mind is that those in the ruling party who are actually elected into Parliament to represent the people of this country have now decided to only protect President Zuma. In other words, in this country, there is no more equality before the law. Some people have become more equal than others. Our message is very clear as the Congress of the People. Save South Africa from Mr. Zuma. Save this country from the ruling party. And the only way to do this is to vote for the leadership that is incorruptible, reliable, and also accountable. When we look at the state of municipalities in this country, it is indeed a matter of serious concern. Firstly, if we check the audit outcomes, it is clear that this project is not sustainable under the government of the ANC. So we really have to go all out and change this government. If you closely look at these municipalities, they only survive because of the equitable share and the municipal infrastructure grant. We want a situation wherein we will begin to run these municipalities like business and make sure that we really broaden our revenue base. Comrades, we have got the most excellent constitution in our country. And Chapter 2 of our constitution, which deals with human rights, really says to us that provision of water is a right and not a luxury. But in Limpopo today, we have got communities that have gone on without water for years. And we are saying these things must actually become things of the past. And this can only happen if we put the Congress of the People in power. Comrades, before I end my welcome address, I also want to give a very special recognition to our traditional leadership. Just yesterday, we had an opportunity to visit and to pay a courtesy visit to Mujaji's Scroll. We are actually encouraged by the warm welcoming that we have actually received from them. Some of their representatives are in our midst today, and we want to say to our communities that we have got to do everything to continue to cooperate with the traditional leadership, because this is our culture. What we have actually learned from Mujaji's Scroll yesterday is that it's actually the professionalism with which they actually run their issues. And we are impressed as the Congress of the People. We think we'll begin to also learn something out of them. Comrades, before I leave the podium, I also want to introduce members of the Congress National Committee. So, comrades, with these few words, I want to really welcome you.
Thank you, Comrade Patrick Scucci, the provincial chairperson of the Congress of the People in Limpopo. We thank you very much for your warm words of welcome. At this stage, we are going to have an item by a very young girl from this village who has decided to create a poem which she wants to render this morning at this manifesto. And I introduce to you Mashao Surprise.
Dumelang kamoka, nna ke surprise haogelo Mashao. Ke eme mo go le retela sereto sa molwela tokologo. Se ngwadile ke morutišigadi wa ka. Yena ke mang e se matlhatši e Flora Malemacha. Molwela tokologo Afrika Borwa. Ke kgale re go nyaka wena molwela tokologo. Re fela pelo ya gore o fitlha neng bolobedi bolo bathaga. Ahe lena ditšhaba tšohle. Thietšang ke le botša ka ga molwela tokologo ya batho ba so diatleng tša ba bašweu. Ke mang sona senatla seo? Hei se yena ragolo mosi wa Thera Lekota. Hele mmona a lefa. O tla išitšwe bakeng sa rena bana ba Tharientsho. Dikgolego tša Afrika Borwa ya ba bodulo bja gagwe mengwaga ye 13 le seripa. Mengwaga ye tshela o ifeditše tša. A tla išwa le Nelson Mandela Robben Island. Mengwaga ye 7 le seripa o ifeditše dikgolegong tše di fapanego tša Afrika Borwa. Se se ntšhabišago ka dinatla tše ke gore kua Robben Island dinatla tše di badile dipuku tša amogela mangwalo a dithuto tša godimo-dimo. Ba gola tlhaologanyong, ba thupa naga ye ya Afrika Borwa diatleng tša ba bašweu ka gobane ba be ba swere marumo a tlhabano. Ke ra yona thuto le gone re gantšha ka lena ra golele kota re seo re le go sona ka lena. Hei lena baswa išang matlho a lena go ragolele kota o tlišitše tokologo Afrika Borwa. Emang ka maoto ke timelang dikolong le tlame ka marumo a tlhabano le dikotse. Ke ra yona thuto le tle le swane le senatla ragolele kota. Ae na ditšhaba tšohle e bulegile metšhako ya thuto Afrika Borwa. Beme ka maoto bana ba ramošweu ba le hlola ka dona ba rata go le amoga naga ye ya o ela maswi le dinosi. Naga ye ke lehumo leo le lefilego ke boragolo le kota le se ralokeng ka yona hle. Makatšang ba bašweu ba re ba sa maketše le lwele naga ya lena. Robelelang leleme le la bona le sa metšele mang. He ba re phaphara ba bone le otlela dikepe le difofane. Kgatlang ra golele kota, kgatlang mo a gatilo le hona. Ra golele kota nna ke setlogolwana sa hao. Ke re ditheto tša go swanela. Hei lena batho moreteng ka megolokwane makope dinaka le maparapatla o re lwetše ragolele kota. Modimo a be le wena a go okeletše matšatši a bophelo. Ke a leboga.
Thank you. I hule, Congress of the People, I hule. I ate, Congress of the People, I ate. Kopili, the Congress of the People, Kopili. Forward with the Congress of the People, forward. Forantu, with the Congress van die mensen, forantu. I cool the Congress of the People, my cool. Baesung. A ki dumedise borena ba habo rena kwano bulubedu. Mushate. Comrade Deputy President, Comrade William Adisha, members of the Congress National Committee of our party, comrades, leaders of the women's section of our party, leaders of the youth of our party, and leaders of the various provinces of the Congress of the People. Fellow comrades, fellow South Africans, once more I stand before you this time with mixed feelings. As you are aware, our country has experienced
ups and downs, uncertainty relating to the position of the Constitution of our country at this time. You are aware that at this time, our party has held back its participation in the sham activities that have been going on in our parliament, the uncertainty surrounding the position and respect of the Constitution of our country by those who control power. We keep evaluating our situation at this time, determined that our country must live up to the dictates of its constitution, and that South Africa must be returned to the road which President Mandela charted out for us, pursuing the objectives and the direction given under the Constitution. Where we all had great hope in 1994, today we are seized with anxiety and uncertainty. The future that once was so bright is now full of uncertainty. You and I, all South Africans, will have to stand together in unity if we are to save our country. For only as a united people can we make that difference. Today, as I present our local government manifesto, I ask you to take note of the power it makes possible if implemented. Real freedom is having the power to act out that freedom. If you have no power, your freedom is worth nothing. The Freedom Charter laid down a requirement that the people shall govern, all the people, and not just a small elite. This showed the wisdom of the leaders of that time. And when we committed to our Constitution, we endorsed that direction. And we laid it as a rule for future generations to travel into the future guided by the dictates of that Constitution. Many of us are today suffering where we live because local government has failed us, largely because power is not in the hands of the people. Power is in the hands of a small elite called a political party. We need electoral system that will place power in the hands of the people, for the people to decide, first of all, who will govern them, for what purpose, and most important, those who exercise that power must do so with us, with you, the people, not in spite of your wishes. To bring about meaningful change and improvement in local government service delivery, one thing will have to be done. The present electoral system will need to change so that citizens will have a greater say in who is elected to power so that they can truly represent the needs of the people. We will need to be enabled to take back our power from the elite minority, and in this process, re-empowering our people. Our involvement and participation is required to achieve real success. If we believe that any political party will deliver exactly what we want, we will be running on the spot. Everything after the election will be precisely as it was before. Only we have the power to keep power in our hands. Let's use our power to make local government work the way we want it to work. Over the past few months, Congress of the People has crisscrossed South Africa to meet our people, our fellow citizens in our cities, in our towns and rural areas. What you told us is now in our manifesto. What you also told us is that many people want Congress of the People to save South Africa. Our people need hope and leadership you can believe in and trust. The time for change is here. We must bring that change about. We must ardently search for honesty, integrity, humility in our politics. We need to identify leaders with vision and deep commitment to our Constitution. Our Constitution is the glue that holds the nation together and helps us fight corruption and abuse of power. There are 11 million children in South Africa who are experiencing severe poverty every day. Youth and adults are also experiencing poverty. With passion and joint effort, we can fight the evil forces in politics and make our politics clean, accountable, responsive, and healthy once again. That the people must and should govern was declared in the Freedom Charter, and it is still evident to us. To have to come forward to create the people power that will make local government work for the people. COPE wishes to extend a non-sectarian invitation to all citizens to build local governments and a country for the people. Congress of the People defines democracy as a government of the people, by the people, for the people, and most importantly, with the people. You will notice how heavily Congress is emphasizing people power and working in genuine partnership, united in our diversity and without consideration to race, color, ethnic or social origin, sex, religion, or language. What the 2016 local government elections mean is that we must repair broken trust, making 100% certain that morality and integrity will prevail in local government specifically, but also in government in general. I say to you today that the Congress of the People wants political leaders who are incorruptible. Incorruptibility is not too high a demand in politics. It is an essential foundation. There must be no possibility for corruption. No room must exist for state capture at the expense of the people. The hyenas have entered our politics in a big way, and they are gnawing on the bones of the moral fiber of our society. It is the responsibility of all of us to stand together to save South Africa. We need to show solidarity in our struggle to cleanse our politics. It has been said that the fish rots from the head down, and what we are seeing as a result of the corruption at the head is that the rot is not only slowly setting in and filtering down not only from central government into local government, but also into our business community. And as this happens, there can only be one loser: us, the people. When people are stripped of power, frustration turns to anger. And that is why events in Vuane happened. Anger, when continually ignored, turns to blind rage. The people of Sekhukhune, Bushbuck Ridge, and numerous other places have no drinking water, no electricity, no housing. And all of this boils over when people remain powerless to correct their own situation. There are people in Kuruman, many other parts of the country, who go to bed without anything to eat. There are many people in Diepsloot who have simply lost hope. When people give away their power, they sacrifice their future. If we hold on to our power and work out how to get maximum value for our votes, our situation could be very different. Just as we seek to get the best value for our rand, so should we seek to get maximum value for our votes. We do not have another 22 years to wait. We, the people, must decide how government plans, how it budgets, and how it accounts, and how government governs. The people must not be satisfied with just making the X and allow the elite to go away. They must keep watch. They must be involved. They must be co-participants in all the processes of government, because only then can they ensure that what is being done is consonant with the needs and demands they have made. If we South Africans want a better future, we will have to build it with our own hands and our own sweat. There are no guardian angels we can rely on. The power is ours. We must take it and use it. We must not protest when we can call the shots. There's no point in voting and giving the people your power and then think afterwards you must protest. We must be there when that power is being exercised. We must be heard on a daily basis as that power is being used. The people who protest are those who give their power away by voting for empty promises. If we plan what we want, it will never turn into fruitless exercise or an empty promise. If we want economic growth, jobs, clinics, roads, a clean environment, we must do much more than make a cross and hope for the best. Congress of the People involves harder work for greater rewards. It is a path with higher participation, which requires us to stay involved in order to reap the fruits of increased prosperity for our country. It is better to keep power than to give it away, and then out of frustration resort to burning infrastructure that we need. Those who are wise succeed. Those who are not get taken for a ride and remain powerless and without the dignity they deserve. Congress of the People offers participatory politics. We do not want or need fans who stand on the sideline waiting for us to deliver presents to them. Imagine a beehive. In a beehive, the queen lives and ensures the continued existence of the hive. The bees collect food for everybody. Together, they make the honey that sustains all the bees. So the future we want, the wealth we want, the better life for all, we must be co-participants in making it, in building it, in constructing it with those we have put in power. And then, only then, can we ensure that the resources we contribute do not get wasted and do not get taken to other countries and we left with nothing. Social democracy has been the most successful experiment in politics in the last 70 years of world history. Scandinavian societies are a living example of this. These governments can afford to be proactive, while most governments, including our own, tend to be reactive. They look forward. They plan into the future. They don't look back to 1652, as some of the leaders continuously encourage us to look back to 1652. They look forward. So social democracy is the vehicle to carry us towards a greater future. I repeat, a government of the people, by the people, for the people, with the people, critically so, with the people. The Freedom Charter promised that the people shall govern. Let them do so through pursuing the processes that social democracy will offer. Let the people do so. Many of you will have noted how passionately the Congress of the People defends the Constitution and the rights that it enshrines. We do so because the Constitution guarantees that each one of us is equal before the law. Equal before the law. However, when communities surrender their power, it is individuals in the political parties alone who become powerful. Then these same individuals and the political parties they control abuse that power, live like kings and queens, and become a law unto themselves. Yes, indeed, they cross the borders in and out without any regard for the laws and the Constitution we have put in place. If we want to be respected, we have to enforce the letter and spirit of the Constitution. The local government election in August 2016 offers you and I an opportunity to make things better for ourselves, for our communities, and for all South Africans. Congress of the People is a party that will continue to uphold the Constitution and the rule of law with full commitment. We will not stray from the Constitution. For us, the Constitution is the supreme and inviolable law of our country. We interpret the Constitution to be in favor of the people. We also recognize that the Constitution is our only guarantee that politicians should remain accountable and transparent. Voting for the Congress of the People will empower us and all those who share in our commitment to the Constitution. Those who are corrupt are not of us, and we are certainly not of them. Our people will remain strong and valid for the full duration of the 5 years that the Council is in existence. Let us take hands to save South Africa. Let us guarantee that the people shall govern. We state this up front. Only when the people begin to govern will the resources of the nation go to the people and not to the politicians and their families and their friends, as has been happening. The power is ours. Wealth belongs to us all, the people. Our votes must secure what our power should get for us, and the nation's wealth should serve the nation, each and every citizen in it. We undertake to promote and create powerful, lasting partnership with our people in all municipalities where we have leadership. We are committed to empowering the people so that we can create the energy and force to make service delivery happen. Only people who participate actively and meaningfully in the decision-making processes are willing to own the outcome. But let me deal with a few specifics at this time. Education is the best weapon to eradicate poverty and crime. Education will be priority number one in all Congress of the People run municipalities. Longer term, we want to improve working conditions in the schools and review salaries to ensure that they reflect the importance of the role of this role in building a skilled and educated nation where unemployment and skill shortages are minimized. Unlike others, we do want clever people. We want clever blacks. We want clever whites. We want clever citizens of our country. Therefore, education is number one. And that's why over the decades, those who led us in the struggle for democratizing our country were educated men and women. Secondly, the challenge for our youth. COPE will tackle the unacceptable unemployment crisis facing our youth. It is a fact that youth in the ages of 24 to 35 are worse off today than their parents were at the same age in the past. How can that be? This situation can't continue any longer. We commit to tackle it head on in the towns and cities we govern, including, by the way, here in the countryside. We can no longer condemn the youth of our country in the countryside to herding cattle and goats. They must go to school at the requisite age like their counterparts in the urban centers. All of the youth of our country must be educated so that when they reach the age of maturity, they are ready to face the challenges of life anywhere and at any time. We acknowledge the power of the youth. COPE will create regular youth forums where young people will be empowered as active citizens to voice their opinions and share their concerns, ideas with councillors and decision makers in government and business. We will turn every town and city COPE governance into an economic hub. Every person should be given an opportunity to work and to be involved in business. COPE will ensure that every township will have a factory-style workshop where artisans can hire space, tools, power, and buy materials to become economically active. Only as we do this can we assess and access the talents of youth of all walks of life. Such community workshops will attract artisans, young people wanting to learn skills, and those in the towns and cities who want something made or something repaired or something altered. Lack of space, lack of tools, and lack of opportunity should not be a problem for those who want to work and put food on the table for their families. As access to market for people is improved, the tax base will be broadened, and this will in turn enable us to increasingly provide better infrastructure, opportunities, and social services. The fight against crime. Crime is an evil that must be attacked by everybody from all quarters. There is no such thing as young people who were born to be criminals. But if society does not create conditions conducive for the cultivation of young people in correct directions, if the parents and senior citizens do not ensure that the young people are guided all round by all of us, as happened long time ago. If we don't do that, if we don't accept our responsibility as adults to guide young people along what is right, they will be lost. Every parent must accept the responsibility of guiding children away from things that are wrong. Don't allow children to smoke nyaupe, to get drunk in front of you without calling them to order. Your responsibility as adults is always to provide that guidance. You are not backward, you are not conservative. If you say to a child of your neighbor, don't drink alcohol, you are too young. If you do that, you are not conservative. You are a responsible parent and you will be respected. Once we create an atmosphere like that, we begin to eliminate those circumstances that encourage children to go on to worse things that lead them into crime. All farming communities will be supported to organize protection units and to have an effective communication system with the police and with municipal authorities. By the way, police can only succeed in fighting crime if we, members of society, provide intelligence to them. We give them support. They are full-time in the fight against crime. We, the rest of the citizens, are part-time fighters against crime. COPE will therefore ensure that local government will encourage the establishment of community policing forums or strengthen those that already exist. Maximize the role of community policing fora and neighborhood watch groups. Destroy crime dens. Clean up overgrown open spaces and provide adequate street lighting. With other spheres of government and private sector partners, COPE will improve the economic conditions of the poor through enhanced economic activity. We will implement technological solutions for the better and constantly monitoring crime infested area. We will promote the emergence of integrated, non-racial and cohesive communities through the sharing of knowledge, information, responsibility, and resources, so that such communities can better combat crime in their respective localities. We will establish monitoring municipal police in all municipalities to ensure bylaws are uniformly and non-selectively enforced and to combat crime in collaboration with other law enforcement agencies. And we will organize monthly public fora with stakeholders to analyze crime statistics and incidents. Looking forward into the future, the Congress of the People acknowledges that police personnel and law enforcement officers are subjected to dangerous working conditions for very little reward, and we undertake as part of a longer-term national strategy to similarly to teachers and nurses review both working conditions and salaries for those who fill these roles in order to attract better qualified candidates to vacant posts and bolster capabilities. Many people have developed a very negative attitude towards teachers, towards police personnel, towards nurses. And yet there can be no society that can face up to the challenges of their task if they do not cultivate such professions and encourage children to look with respect at the functions that are fulfilled by those individuals. It is for this reason that we must make those roles properly rewarding roles. With regard to water and sanitation services, South Africa faces a water crisis, my dear comrades. There has been lack of planning for some time already. The dams, the rivers that South Africa has run very fast to the ocean in the rainy season because of the landscape of our country. Unless there is consistent planning to ensure that when it's rainy season, we harvest as much of the water as possible and release it systematically such that greater parts of our country continue to enjoy the flow of water even in the non-rainy season. Unless we do that, unless therefore we train our children as civil engineers in water control, in water maintenance, unless we do that, we will find ourselves in difficulties in which lots of citizens will die of hunger and of thirst. Because when there's no water, you can't grow food anywhere. It's urgent that we do these things and talk about them this time. We don't only need water for sewerage. We need it, more important, to produce the food we can eat. But we also, of course, need it so as to cleanse the situation in which we are. COPE will ensure that our dams and water infrastructure are properly managed. All citizens have a right to clean drinking water. They also have a right to see and end the hated bucket system. We will work with communities to take the water and sanitation issues forward, supporting a better approach to dwellings. A roof over the head of each and every citizen is non-negotiable. As our forebears declared in 55, there shall be housing, security, and comfort. We promised that to our people. We promised them over the years, and they sacrificed their lives to get this democracy, believing that when the time comes, we will ensure that they get housing. But today, there are increasing numbers who have nowhere to sleep. Today, even the little housing we build is being sold to them through corrupt means. The RDP houses, which are supposed to be given to the poor, to those who are unable, are being sold by those who are corrupt. This cannot be allowed. We have to make sure, under the leadership of the Congress of the People, that there will be housing available for all. We also want houses that are fully fireproof. The technology is available already, and it is affordable. These shacks that are burning now and then, killing the lives of people, can be avoided if the Congress of the People were be placed responsible for housing people. We would provide housing there with material that will not burn, but one which will also be comfortable for the survival of young children who are born in shacks, survival of the old people who now spend the last days of their lives in shacks where they die of cold and heat. We must be ashamed of ourselves if we can't look after each other. Human beings are the only animals that know how to look after each other. It cannot be allowed that a situation like this continues and we are indifferent, because one day we ourselves will be old. Tomorrow our children will bring into this world little babies. We don't want them suffering in the shacks. We don't want anybody suffering in the shacks. So the Congress of the People makes this commitment with regard to the question of housing, to accelerate access to housing through greater involvement of our people with the responsible government departments. When government and people work together and join their resources and labor, new and innovative housing solutions will be found. COPE will ensure a reliable electricity supply and will look at affordable, renewable and sustainable solutions such as water and wind. COPE is a green party. COPE believes that we should be capturing the energy from the sun, and therefore we don't have to pay for it. We must capture all this energy. We light, we run the heaters, we do anything. This technology is there. This country has talented, capable young people who can be trained and become experts in bringing green power and ease the burden of the life of our people. COPE will be actively involved in monitoring residential areas to control overcrowding, to prevent the outbreak of fires, increase incidence of flooding, and increase health hazards. COPE will ensure that all informal settlement areas receive proper professional planning at once. This will enable people to improve their dwellings as their circumstances improve, and thereby make possible for an informal settlement area to become increasingly formal over time. If we do not plan the settlement of those who have no houses, we will not be able to build proper housing. But if we plan in advance spatial settlement, then we put people already on land on which all that's outstanding is to build their houses. After 22 years in the new South Africa, we are still as divided as ever. So we need new spatial planning for our cities and towns and rural areas. We shouldn't be talking about white areas, black areas, 22 years after we came out of apartheid. We should be talking about residential areas, industrial areas, etc. Not divided on race, but divided on the role that they are supposed to be playing. And yet our country remains as backward as ever. The more things appear to be changing, the more they remain the same. Congress of the People is committed to bring work closer to the people. We need integration, not segregation. Congress of the People will not tolerate the status quo. We want to ensure new planning that will allow for residential and economic needs to be better met in one locality. That long-term, people-centered planning takes place within all COPE-controlled municipalities. Potholes, overflowing sewer manholes, poorly lit streets, and houses built dangerously close to one another will receive immediate attention and eliminated. COPE undertakes to do something that no other party will dare to contemplate. We will strive to introduce a new model for budgeting, which involves the following steps. Community members identify spending priorities and select budget dates. So when the money is there, we will not think and decide for the people what do they want to be attacked or attended to first. We're going to call the community and say to them, what do you want us to start to sort out? Then the people must decide, we want you to build a street here first, or we want you to build a stadium here in Mukokwaila, which has got a proper athletics running track, because we want to produce an Usain Bolt here. But with a track like that one, with stones and all those obstacles, no child of Mukokwaila will become an Usain Bolt. With a ground like this, with the poles like that, no Lionel Messi will come out of here. Because this is not suitable for playing. Our children must have green grass, so that even when they want to slide, their knees must not peel off because of the stones. South African children must not see the green lawn. They must play on it. South African children must not see lawn when they look at TV at Wimbledon. They must see lawn and play lawn tennis in this country, here in Mukokwaila, in Pretoria, in Soweto, everywhere where our people live. Let the land turn green if they are to play on it. Let our children enjoy the same conditions as the children of various other countries with whom we have to compete at the Olympic Games, with whom we have to compete when it's the World Cup soccer games. Not to have some 1 ground, 5 grounds, when the World Cup comes here and afterwards the whole thing falls apart. We need local government of the nature that the Congress of the People thinks our people deserve. So therefore, if the people of a town or city work together, if they work together, these things can be done. We also need towns and cities that can develop municipal development and trading companies. You need a municipal development and trading companies so that here in this country, the people must pool their resources together. And we say the Congress believes that every rand that can be spared in every town and city should be invested monthly in municipal development and trading companies. Money funds projects. More money will mean more projects and therefore more jobs. You call that MD, municipal development and trading companies. If the people of a town or city work together, save together, invest together and create a development and trading company, they will become more self-reliant. Job creation comes from investments. If every town has its own development and trading company, government and the private sector can also put money into it and make the people's company even bigger and more successful. We need a healthy business climate in every town and city. And we need people's involvement in business, in the business of government and the business of business. Then we spread the nation's wealth more equally to all who should rightfully share in it. Free enterprise, where all people are free to share in the wealth of the nation and the rewards are determined by the effort the individual puts in the collective. That must rule. Capitalism, where traditionally wealth is spread among a small group of powerful, often corrupt entities, should have the look and feel. Capitalism, where traditionally wealth is spread among a small group of powerful and often corrupt entities, should have the look and feel of socialism. Instead of the prosperity of the individual, we must have the prosperity of the community and our country at heart. To enjoy the fruits of business, communities must invest money, sweat, and ideas. Congress of the People will actively promote the formation of municipal-based development and trading companies in each locality where we have control. Each municipality will encourage city or town dwellers to invest in the municipal development and trading companies using their mobile phones and easy outlets. It will be as easy as buying a lotto ticket. Also, instead of zama-zama, we offer the opportunity for ownership and work so that through the dignity of labor, people can secure their future. With the capital that is accumulated from all the citizens in the city, who can invest whatever they can invest, this municipal development and trading company can with other partners fund infrastructure projects, promote and support entrepreneurship, create profits for all the people who invest in the MDTC and support local social security programs in each area. But first, everyone must participate in the baking of a big cake, and then we can each consider having a slice of that cake. To conclude, COPE is not simply looking for votes in local government for the sake of immediate but limited power. The 2016 local elections are just the beginning of a much longer term approach to the future of our country and urban and rural centers. These are just the first, These are just the first step in a longer term strategic journey which sees COPE taking a key role in building the kind of society we all dreamt of at the birth of democracy in 1994, a country envisioned in the founding principles of the Freedom Charter. A society in which there is a recognition that the stability and prosperity of a country is built upon three legs: law and order and functional, effective and efficient educational and health system. And that in order to build this kind of society, we need to recognize the importance of those foot soldiers who hold the future of our nation in their hands: teachers, nurses, policemen, citizens, you, the people. From these things flow all others, the economy. And so issues like unemployment and poverty will improve because we will have a healthy, well-educated population and therefore a more productive economy. We will have more wealth in the hands of the people, which will mean that citizens will have a vested interest in ensuring the continued prosperity of our country. This should see crime rates decrease as a result. Added together, these changes will create a more politically stable environment, contributing to national well-being and also increase direct investment, boosting the economy. We are proposing that the net effect of all this will be that citizens are more empowered and those trapped in grinding poverty will have more equal opportunity to escape their situation than under the current government, where wealth and power is concentrated in the hands of a corrupt few. In such an environment, is COPE proposing everyone prospers. COPE has a vision of a future South Africa where all citizens will once again feel personal pride in their role in creating a safe, educated and healthy nation where all people, not just an elite powerful few, have the possibility to achieve their potential and reach the country of their dreams. Once upon a time, I was exactly your age, and I can tell you, I used to dream of a South Africa that would be democratic, of a South Africa in which we would have all the advantages of the young people of various other nations. I gave up, continued to suffer in the township's grounds with stones and all of that. I understood the struggle to assist democracy to come about. I went to jail and I came back. And then I went to jail again and I came back. And then I got arrested again and I came back. I believed that when our freedom shall have come, we will make South Africa a better place. But even today, although we are being let down, I continue to hold firmly to the conviction that if once the people of our country, now that we are working together black and white, that if we can just stand together, if we can collect our taxes and invest them in the improvement of the conditions of our life, that our children and great-grandchildren will live to play on that green lawn that I dreamt of so many years ago. Then I am quite convinced that our children and grandchildren will one day compete on the Olympic stadiums of the international community and bring home to South Africa, to those humble township houses, they will bring gold medals to their grandmothers. And let's approach this election.
Broadcasting live from Mokwakoila village here in Limpopo, where co-president just delivered his keynote address in terms of what the party is going to do
With
if
the
elected.
optimism of a
With me
little
here is
boy
Deputy Editor
in
for
Seychelles
Politics
called
for
Mr.
Radio
Walubo.
Mahlatsi Gallants. Just to sum it up for us, Mahlatsi.
Nelson Mandela.
I think the main message that we heard from COPE was the one that they've been calling for in the
Walter
past few
Sisulu.
weeks. They are saying, calling on South Africans to
Albertina
save the
Sisulu.
country from what they're saying
It was
it's
that
plagued by
kind of
corruption,
activism
leaders that are not accountable to
men
the
and
people.
women
We
who
heard
led
him
our
mentioning the violence that we've seen in
who
Vuane,
understood
saying that
that it
people have
can
been
be
left
done.
out in the governance, and
Because
if COPE
human
does
beings
govern, they will then be
are
giving them
capable
power
of
back
doing
so that
those
they're not
things.
as frustrated. He also
If those
mentioned
things
some
are
major
made in
key issues
China,
around
if
education,
grounds like that are
appearing
to
to
be
be
found
taking
in
a swipe
India,
at President Jacob Zuma
if
when
the
he was
youth
saying
of Finland and
under
Germany
COPE municipalities,
can
they
live
will be
in
focusing
conditions
on education, saying that unlike other
befitting human
parties,
beings.
they believe that they should have
We
clever
cannot
people.
allow
Another issue
ourselves
was around
the
crime,
luxury
where they're
of
saying that they
crime
will be
that
reviewing
makes
the
our
working
children
conditions of the
grow
police. They
in
will also be
conditions that
reviewing
are
the working
less
conditions of nurses and
for
teachers,
them.
so that those
Because they
professions
too
that have
are
been part
human
of South
beings.
Africans for many,
I
many
thank you.
times, their respectability is actually restored. COPE is definitely hoping that this manifesto that they've presented forward will help them to get those to get back the support that they had in the last elections.
Well, from us here in Mokwakwela village in Limpopo, it's back to you in studio.